Right, my dear friends. Now, talking about this subject, right? Forget about geography, my dear friends. Any subject you take, right? See, near about 47 different optional subjects are there in UPSC examination. Why I am telling 47? Because, say, for example, when I talk about literature, nearly 23 different literature subjects are there, right? Nearly 23, 24 literature subjects are there, including English literature, I'm just talking. Okay. So all subjects, if you take it together, nearly 47 different optional subjects are there, right? Now comes the question, right? What exactly should be the SOP, right? What exactly should be the SOP I should follow to select my optional subject, right? Say, for example, generally we say, criteria number one, it is all about your interest, right? Which is, say, for example, which is more convenient to me, somewhere you have to identify it, correct? Right. Number two, I can talk about, say, for example, the scoring pattern or scoring potential. You call it as a scoring pattern or you call them as what? Scoring potential. Sometimes what happens, few of the options, generally it is known for its scoring pattern. A few of the options, right, it may not be that much score. But still, criteria number two, according to me, it is more like a myth. Right. Number three is very important, my dear friends. What is number three? What portion of one optional subject is participants kindly requesting you to put your mic in mute. Okay, right, fine. Right, my dear friends. Right, what I'm just trying to say, number three, I said it is very, very important. What percentage an optional subject is overlapping with your general studies paper? Okay, why this is very important? Because more I concentrate in my optional subject, I'll be having a overlapping area so that I'm not only preparing for this optional subject, I'll also be, say, for example, indirectly, I'll be studying this GS or I'll be covering this GS portion also. Okay. So GS advantage is very, very important. Then comes the availability of resources. See, for example, why I'm saying availability of the resources. I have seen, say, for example, plenty of students, particularly people who have completed their MBA, they wanted to opt, means somewhere this opt for this management paper. But what is the problem of management paper? I'm telling you, UPSC related information, finding it is very difficult. Even I have seen people say, for example, from economics, right? They'll be experts of economics, but still when it comes to somewhere preparing for UPSC mains examination with economics as an option, sometimes slightly the difficulty will be there. Okay. So popular subjects, that availability of the resources should not be a problem. And finally comes something called as what? Guidelines, guidance, availability of the faculty and so on. Okay. And whatever it is the case, number one is very, very important, your interest, right? You have to identify that what type of my, say, for example, right, what type of subject I'll be more interested in, right? You have to identify the type of your mind, whether my brain is objective or subjective. Whether I'm, say, for example, more comfortable in humanities or more comfortable in, say, something subjects which is more science related or others. Okay, right. Now, one by one, I'll tell you my difference. For example, right, when I just talk about geography, right, particularly I'll be focusing on geography now, right? Why choose geography as an optional subject? What is an advantage I'll be having if I choose geography as an optional subject? See, plenty of advantages we have. Among all this, what I would say, when I just talk about this geography as a subject, my dear friends, this is one of the subjects which has the maximum coverage in the GS area. General studies, when I just talk about, say, for example, mains examination, totally I have 7 papers. I should say it is 7 plus 2. Total number of papers I'll be writing is what? 7 plus 2, 9 papers I'll be writing in mains examination, right? Out of this 9, 2 is just qualifying in nature. When I talk about subjects like English and language paper, they are just qualifying in nature. But the 7 is very, very important, right? When I just talk about the 7, right, the GS paper alone, I have, say, for example, when I talk about this GS paper, I'll be having this 4 GS papers put together. I'll be having 4 GS papers. I call them as GS1, GS2, GS3, and GS4. GS4, you call them as what? Ethics paper. That is okay. Then apart from that, I have one essay paper, right? I'll be having one essay, right? Apart from essay, my dear friends, finally, I'll be having this optional subject. See, what I want to tell you, this optional subject, right? Optional subject is one, but I'll be having two papers. Put together, this optional subject will be giving me 500 marks. 500 marks. Let me ask you this question, simple question, my dear friends. You tell me, according to you, what percentage of mark normally a candidate, if he or she is getting, will be qualifying the mains examination? What I'm asking, the total number of marks for what mains examination is being held is 1,750 marks, right? Forget about the marks, my dear friends. Let me put it in percentage. According to you, what do you feel that what percentage of mark a person should take in order to go and sit in the interview? Or make it very, very simple, right? If I'm just talking about, say, for example, UPSC topper, all India rank 1, any idea what percentage of mark he or she would have got it? Any idea, my dear friends? 45 to 50%, somebody said, Hindu saying. RBK has said 50%, right? Charles has said 50 to 60%. Ash has said 75%. Okay, let me tell you. When I talk about topper, all India topper, right? It is approximately 55%. So, in any examination, mains examination, if I can get 55% means I am going to be all India topper. Correct? But whatever be the case, if I'm able to almost achieve 45% or more mark, my dear friends, believe me, you're going to get service. Some service. I do not know which service, but you will be getting service. 55% you're going to be all India rank 1. Okay. Right? But when I talk about 45%, still you will be there in what? Some service. But let me tell you, my dear friends, 45%, if I just take 45% in mains examination, it means then and there itself, somewhere I understand my service is confirmed. What I want to tell you, geography is one such option where 300 plus mark is achievable, right? It means getting 300 mark out of 500 marks is very much achievable. Very much achievable. So what I want to tell you, say for example, when I just talk about, say for example, this 300 marks, right? Somewhere it is, say for example, nearly, I should say for example, nearly 65 to 70% of mark, right? 250, okay. To be very precise, I'll put it as what? 60% of mark. Without, say for example, almost on an average, a good candidate can get 300 plus mark. It means achieving 60% of mark in geography is very much achievable. Very much achievable. Why I'm telling you? Because when I just talk about the toppers mark, my dear friends, right? Toppers mark. Consistently, I'm just saying, say for example, right? 2016, geography topper mark was 326, then 327, 321, 324. Correct? If I just talk about it, all these marks are nearly 65%. I'm telling you, 65% if you're scoring, take it for me, optional subject alone will get you service. Right? See, for example, when I just talk about the importance of optional subject, it's something like this. If I'm an expert in geography or expert in my optional subject itself will get me service. Right? If I take average mark in optional subject, just because of optional subject, you will not lose service. Only problem, if I take very below average mark in optional subject, just because of my optional subject, I'll be losing my service. But the point what I'm just trying to make, where 45%, overall 45%, if a person is able to get service, optional subject like geography, I'm not telling only geography is scoring this much. It can be any subject. It can be any subject, right? But I am just taking the statistical analysis of geography and I'm just putting it in front of you. Okay. So consistently, I am seeing that, say, for example, candidates are scoring as much as 65% in this subject of geography. Okay. Right, my friends. Now, okay, if that is the case, one point what I'm just trying to make is geography as an individual subject, it is scoring. Correct? 300 plus is very much achieved. Okay. And now comes the question, right? What else advantage here? My dear friends, let me tell you, geography is one of the subject which has the maximum coverage in general studies. For example, when I talk about general studies, preliminary examination, I have 7 areas, 7 subjects. Okay. Among the 7 subjects, if you ask me what are the 7 subjects, I would say polity, history, geography, economy, environment, general science, current affairs. Let me tell you, my dear friends, when I talk about geography, though I call it as a geography, within this subject, the so-called subject of environment is also covered, right? Geography and environment put together, any examination you take it, any preliminary examination you take it, nearly 30 to 35 questions will be asked just from these 2 subjects. It means out of 100 questions that is asked, if I am a student of geography who will also be studying environment, total number of questions what I can answer in the examination can be anywhere between 30 to 35. If I'm very lucky, 35, not so lucky, 30. Not less than 30, not more than 35 on an average. Slightly plus or minus 2 is acceptable. Okay. It means what? Every third question in the preliminary examination is going to be a geography-based question. Okay. It means it is going to give you one of the greatest advantage in writing your preliminary examination. See, what I'm telling you is a fact. Okay. And that's the reason any fact has to be substantiated with the data. I have just taken the list of candidates who have appeared in mains examination with their popular subjects. Correct? Among them, for example, this is 2019, if I'm not wrong. 2019, year 19. That subject with the maximum, right? Where the maximum number of students have appeared, right? Nearly 2,000 students have opted for what? Geography. See, it is not that you qualify the preliminary examination, then you will say, what is your optional subject? No. Even before you write preliminary examination, while filling your application itself, I'm going to declare that what is my optional subject, right? In that year, my dear friends, say, for example, PSIR stands second, right? Then say, for example, comes sociology and anthropology. So the point what I'm just trying to say, this is the subject which is written by the largest chunk of students who have cleared it. So somewhere this data gives you an idea that geography gives you that preliminary examination advantage, right? Not only 1 year. Again, say, for example, if I'm just talking about another year, right? Another year, again, when I just talk about, say, for example, geography, somewhere geography, number of students opted is what? 1,322. So that year, political science was very popular in the sense, see, even PSIR is not a, say, for example, right? It is a very good subject. When it comes to coverage of GS, right? PSIR is a beautiful subject. Correct? That much areas of GS it will be covering. PSIR. Even geography will be equally covering that much area of what? General studies. So that gives you, these are the subjects which will be giving you that general studies advantage. Okay. I'll give you the fact of another year, my dear friends. Right? When I just talk about the another year, again, right? This particular year, see, how many students have appeared with the geography? 2,669 students have appeared with what? Geography. The highest among any option. Highest among any option. Right? Then say, for example, that year political science was not so. Say, for example, that many candidates did not up. Okay, right. Now here, all this data I am just telling you. On an average, if I just take the analysis of the last 10 years, the maximum number of students who have appeared in mains examination, they had this subject called as geography. But equally, that is getting transformed. Even that year, the highest number of services was also fetched by what? The students who have opted for what? Geography. Correct. Similarly, say, for example, every year I'll be finding close to 100 or more than 100 students will be clearing from what? Geography as an optional subject. Right. Somewhere, this is what? Statistical analysis is all. Right. Okay, my dear friends. Now I told you. Geography, the scoring pattern I have told. I have also substantiated with the fact that year on year, if I just take the average so far, the highest number of candidates who have opted for mains examination are the students of geography. Now, that and all, it is okay. Then I just told you an SOP, right? I told you SOP based how exactly my optional subject has to be chosen. Even scoring pattern, I put it second. Number one, interest, right? If I have interest in subject, I can go for the subject. If I do not have interest, certainly speaking, even if the subject is very beautiful, you cannot score. Correct? Your personal interest is very, very important. Correct. So now you have to see that, okay, fine. What type of brain is playing? What type of subject I'll be having a natural orientation or likeliness, you have to somewhere, you have to see. Okay, right. Now for that, not only this, see, for example, I'll be having this geography as an option. Similarly, my colleagues will be having their own optional, right? They'll be giving you a super overview of their respective subjects. Okay. From your side, what you have to do? You have to go through the syllabus. You go through the syllabus, right? Any subject you take it, you go through the syllabus. Certainly speaking, you may not understand majority part of the syllabus, but at least some of the words, right? Some of the paras, some of the sentence in the syllabus you will be familiar with. If you are more familiar, it means that subject will be slightly easier for you. This is one aspect, correct? Number two, what I also recommend is that if it is possible, after going through the syllabus, after going through the syllabus part, my dear friends, if it is possible, what I recommend, take the previous year's question. Okay. For example, you can start with wait for another few days. Wait till August 31st, right? August 31st. This year examination is also over. I'm talking about optional subject is happening on August 31st. The rest of the subject is starting with August 22nd. What I'm just trying to say, you take the previous year's paper. 2025 may not be available, but you take 2024 paper. Right, a geography paper, you can take it, or any other subject of your interest, you can take it, and just have a glance. Take paper 1 and paper 2 and just see the previous year's question, that what question they asked. My dear friends, if you can answer some of the questions partly, again it says that you are comfortable or you're familiar with this option subject. Okay. Now what I recommend is very simple. For any subject, including geography, go through the syllabus. Superficial. Detailed analysis is and all not needed, because I have to somewhere compare 3 or 4 options. First, what you do, you create a kind of a, say for example, almost option, right? Somewhere you have an option for optional subjects. 3 or 4 optional subjects, you take it. Okay. Popular subjects, you take it. Then analyze the syllabus of these subjects. Then see what is the familiarity I have with each and every subject. Then the respective subjects question papers you take it, right? See how many questions right at this moment you can partially answer. Completely you may not be able to answer, but partially some familiarity in the question papers will be there, correct? This is one of the way how I can check my subject of interest. I can check which subject I'm comfortable with. Okay, right. Now, my dear friends, coming to geography, let me show you the syllabus. Any subject you take it, I know the fact that any subject I'll be having 2 papers. Paper 1 for 250 marks and paper 2 for 250 marks. Totally, I'll be having 500 marks to write. Okay. And I am telling you, my dear friends, very sincerely, if you are preparing geography, yes, 300 should not be a difficult to score. Correct. If the country's topper are getting 323 or 65% of mark, any average service fetching student should be able to achieve what? 300. Right? 65 mark is an exceptional. That is okay. Right? But still, if at all, if you want to be in any service, achieving 300 should not be a problem. That's what I'm telling you. Not only for geography, any subject for that case, right? Sincerely, I'm preparing it with greater understanding. Achieving 300 should not be a problem. Okay, now coming here. When I just talk about geography, as I said, I'll be having 2 papers. Paper 1 and paper 2. Okay. What is this paper 1? When I just talk about this paper 1. Paper 1 is world geography and paper 2 is Indian geography. Okay. And this world geography, my dear friends, again, this world geography is actually subclassified into two sections. Section A, you call them as what? Physical geography or world physical geography. Section B, you call them as what? World human geography. Okay, right. Now, my dear friends, comes the question. Okay, right. I have two papers. I call it as physical geography of the world, human geography of the world. And when it comes to paper 2, your syllabus has not classified it. Correct? Indian geography, it has not classified as physical and human geography. But still, if you ask me, right? Totally Indian geography paper, I'll be having 10 papers. What is shown as unit 1 or chapter 1, that alone is physical geography. Rest of the unit you take it, 2 to 9 you take it, all these topics comes under what? Human geography of India. And unit number 10 is all about current affairs. Okay, right. Now comes the question. Okay, fine. I have just given you paper 1. I'll be having 2 sections. 1 I call them as physical geography. 2 I call them as what? Human geography. Now comes the question. Physical geography. What are the things I am going to study? Very simple, my dear friends. Very first chapter, I'm going to study about this chapter. You call them as what? Geomorphology. Study of landform features. Chapter 2, climatology. Study of atmosphere. Number 3, oceanography. Study of oceans or water. Very simple. Unit 1, chapter 1, I'm going to study about land. Unit 2, I'm going to study about air. Unit 3, I'm going to study about water. Correct? Only the 3 spheres I'm going to study. I'm going to study about land. I'm going to study about air. I'm going to study about. Okay. Wherever these 3 spheres confluence with each other. Land, the layer, outermost layer of this earth, the surface of the same, you call them as a land. That layer, you call them as what? Lithosphere. To put it technically, I would say geomorphology is the study of lithosphere. Climatology is the study of atmosphere. Oceanography is the study of hydrosphere. So, my dear friends, wherever this lithosphere, atmosphere, and hydrosphere meets each other, that is the place where I'll be having a life-bearing sphere on Earth. This life-bearing sphere on Earth, we call them as what? Biosphere. So if I just talk about unit number 4, what I'll be studying about what? I'll be studying about biosphere. Okay, that's what you call them as what? Biogeography. Correct? And the influence on all this, say for example, the changing nature of this, all this sphere put together, we call them as what? Environmental geography. Correct? Now what I want to tell you, my dear friends, as of now, chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, geomorphology, climatology, and oceanography is completely physical geography. Right? It is geography, purely geography. Even biogeography and environmental geography is purely what? Geography, but still, these topics, when it comes to GS classification, they are given under this classification called as environment and ecology. That's the reason I'm telling you, right? In general studies, what I study as environmental and ecology is also part of my what? Geography as an optional subject. So that will give you greatest advantage in handling preliminary examination. Okay, correct. Now, when I talk about human geography, my dear friends, right? We'll be talking about the perspectives in human geography, philosophical approach of human geography, evolution of geography as such. Then we'll be talking about this economic geography, right? Including the resource and others. Then we'll be talking about the social geography. Put together, you call them as what? Population and settlement geography. Then we'll be talking about regional planning. And the last topic is very, very important. We call them as what? Models, theories, laws in human geography. Plenty of models will be having, right? Plenty of theories will be having. Very popular theories like heartland theory, rimland theory, plenty of theories will be having. Okay. So this is what superficially we'll be studying under this chapter called as what? Right? Or this entire paper, right? Paper 1 is completely for world geography, right? I can call it as world physical geography, and 5 units I have under what? World human geography. So totally 5 physical geography units and 5 human geography units put together. Paper 1, I'll be studying only what? 10 units. When it comes to paper 2, again, I'll be studying 10 units. 1, I'll be talking about the physical setting of India. Physical setting of India is nothing but what? Physical geography of India. Then all this what we have taken. When I talk about resource is nothing but what? Economic geography. Agriculture is economic geography. Industry is economic geography. Transport and communication is what? Economic geography. When I talk about cultural setting, it is population geography. When I talk about settlement, again, it is population geography. Again, when I talk about regional development and planning, here also we studied about regional development. Here also we are studying about what? Regional development. Okay. So whatever you are studying in paper 1, correct? The same thing you study for India, you call them as what? Indian geography. No new concept. Only the region is different. Paper 1, the same concept for the entire world I will be studying. Paper 2, the same concept only for India I will be studying. So paper 2 is a miniature of paper 1. That's the reason we say, for example, somewhere if I am taking 2 months to prepare for paper 1, not more than 15 days I will be taking to prepare for what? Paper 2. Because most of the paper 2 already I would have studied in what? Paper 1. Context I would have studied. Principles I would have studied. Theories I would have studied. Models I would have studied. Right? But I am applying the same in what? Indian context or Indian region. Correct? When it comes to paper 2 as such. Now, right, my dear friends. Now, I have just given you an overall picture. Paper 1, 10 units. Paper 2, 10 units. And what is very interesting, paper 2, I have something called as map mark. Map marking is one area, my dear friends, where even somewhere achieving 20 out of 20 marks is very much possible. Right? Very much possible. Worst case scenario also, I understand 16 out of 20 is very much possible. My dear friends, 16 out of 20 marks is nearly 80%. Achieving 80% for any answer in humanities is very difficult. Okay. But map is one area where that you can very easily achieve. Only for India, we have a map. World map, we do not have. Earlier, see, before 2010, geography as a subject used to have 120 marks for map. Slowly, steadily, this share has come down. Today, I have only 20 marks for what? But still, very vital, very vital. I would say mains examination, every 1 mark is important. 1 mark, there will be 7 or 8 candidates standing. Okay, every mark is important. Okay, now see, superficially, I'll give you the syllabus part. I've given you what are the topics, but I'll give you the syllabus part. Paper 1, I have 2 subunits. Section A, we call them as what? Principles of geography of the world, right? Physical geography. Geomorphology, I'll be studying about landform features, correct? Right? Climatology, I'll be studying about atmosphere. Oceanography, I'll be studying about water, oceans of the world, correct? Simply water. I'm going to study about land, I'm going to study about air, I'm going to study about water, okay? Then when I just talk about biogeography and environmental geography, this is what put together we call them as what? Environment and ecology. Again, I understand this 5 topics what I have taken is very, very important also for what? General studies. Okay, right. Now, a few things let me tell you. If I somewhere study this particular topic, I also understand this gives me a greatest advantage in answering questions of general studies paper 1 in mains exam. General studies paper 1, my dear friends, near about 70 to 100 marks. 70 to 100 marks every year what they have asked. Out of 250 marks, near about 100 marks is a geography based marks or geography based question. Right? One paper alone. GS, one paper alone I am talking about. Okay, right. Now let me talk about, say, for example, human geography. When I talk about human geography, yes, perspective is more like philosophical approach. Then I have economic geography, right? Where I'll be talking about, say, for example, the resource and its distribution, including the practice of agriculture, industries, and others. Then I'll be talking about one very important population and settlement geography. Okay. Then we'll be talking about this regional planning, and I said models and theories in human geography. Okay. From there, if I come to paper 2, paper 2, the very first topic we call them as what? Physical setting. Here we'll be discussing about the physiographic divisions in India. Correct? And let me tell you, see, for example, tropical cyclone explicitly mentioned syllabus in your UPSC mains examination under general studies. Here also I have this tropical cyclone. Right? Soils and natural vegetation, I'll be having repeated questions in preliminary geography. Right? These are some of the very important topics here. Flood and drought. Every year we'll be discussing about flood and drought. There will be one questions in GS, flood and drought. I'll be talking about Indian monsoon. I'll be talking about rainfall pattern. I'll be talking about river systems in India. Right? Everything. Then my dear friends, resources. Again, let me tell you, when I talk about general studies paper 1, GS paper 1, resource is a explicitly mentioned topic. You take the syllabus and look for this topic called as resources. They say key natural resources, distribution of key natural resources across the world, including India, they say. Right? Very, very important. Right? Here again, I'll be studying about what? Agriculture. I'll be studying about what? Industry. Again, industry is important both for general studies as well as what? Your optional subject. And see, this is very important. Transportation, it is okay. Right? Cultural setting, I'll be talking about, say, for example, about the population, distribution, right? Problems related to population, everything I'll be discussing. Then I'll be talking about settlement. What I want to tell you, and talk about this regional planning, and very particularly if I talk about political aspects. See this beauty. When I talk about the political aspects, my dear friends, right? They talk about the geographical basis of Indian federalism. I'm also touching polity. State reorganization. Again, certain topic for general studies polity, I am just covering it. Emergence of new states. General studies mains examination, there is a subject called as, right, postmodern India. Right? Postmodern India also I am just covering it. Okay. Regional consciousness, interstate issues, again polity. International boundaries of India, kind of international relations. Cross-border terrorism, internal security. Correct? India's role in world affairs, international relation. Geopolitics of South Asia and Indian Ocean realm, international relation. My dear friends, though I call this subject as geography, I am touching the aspect of international relation. I am touching the aspect of polity. I am touching the aspect of internal security. I am touching the aspect of disasters. For example, when I talk about drought, when I talk about desert, when I talk about, say, for example, flood, earlier topic we talked about flood. Okay. Even see what is very important. Here also we discuss about what? Panchayat Raj. Yeah. Here also we discuss about Panchayat. Here also we discuss about what? 5 years plans. 12 5-year plans we have done. So that's the reason I would say, okay, subject is geography. Geography optional subject covers complete GS geography, but not only that, it covers your environment and ecology, very important for both prelims and mains. It covers international relation to some extent. It covers internal security to some extent. It covers near complete disaster management. It covers part of economy also. That's the reason I said, my dear friends, the GS advantage what this subject gives is immense, very immense. Okay, right. Now, so many advantages we have for this subject, right? But again, if you ask me, okay, what are the cons? What is the disadvantage I'll be having selecting geography? If you ask me, I'll tell you, syllabus, though the chapters are only 20, 10 plus 10, coverage of this topic will be slightly. Time taken for you to cover the syllabus will be time slightly. For example, other popular optional subject, if I'm able to cover in 3 to 3.5 months, I may take 4 to 4.5 months for covering this subject. If other subjects I cover in 2 months, I may cover this in 3 months. Somewhere around this 15 days to 1 month, the difference will be there. But that 15 days to 1 month difference will make you very strong in GS. Advantage is there, disadvantage is there, but I always feel that advantages are more than the disadvantages. That is the reason we are teaching this subject. Now comes $1 million question. Who can choose this geography as a subject, right? Is it universal that everybody can choose if you ask me, I would say answer is yes. Whichever stream you are from. Because see, the basis of geography I have studied from my class 10th till 10th. Till 10th itself, I would have studied world history, world geography, Indian geography, or I'll put it in different perspective. I would have studied physical geography. I would have studied human geography for both world and India. Now I have to give more emphasis. Foundations I know, basics I know, but I have to build more informations in and around. That is what will be challenging. And let me tell you, my dear friends, I told you, students have same way, say for example, international relation option. What is the question? I'm not able to understand. I'll try to answer it at the last. Okay, right. Now, what I'm just trying to say, yeah. Anybody
Coaching.
I'll Santosh, I'll just, I'll complete it, then I'll ask you first. Right. Yeah. What I'm just trying to say, my difference here. Okay. Anybody can select geography as an option, but still, who will have advantage? I'm telling you. See, here I have seen so many students, many of the students who are there in service, they always find a common point. See, obviously, content matters, right? It means what you're going to write in the paper matters. No doubt about it. There is no second thought about it. But till today, only humans are correcting your optional subjects. Our mains examination itself is corrected by human beings. Okay. Only say, for example, your preliminary examination, OMR corrections, it's done by system. Human element will always be there. Correct. If that is the case, a person who can present your answer very neatly, very neat presentation should be there. If you're good in diagrams, I'm telling you, this subject will fetch you very high marks. Right? If you are an artist, not necessarily you should be an artist. Geography demands more number of diagrams, particularly for paper 1. Even in paper 1, physical geography part. Even in physical geography part, 3 chapters, your drawing skills are very good. Geomorphology, climatology, and oceanography. Correct? See, I'm not asking you to be an artist for that case, but at least what I can present very neatly in a diagrammatic fashion. I'm telling you, I have seen students who have the greatest presentational skill along with good content. They are very easily getting 300. To be very precise, just because of the subject they are getting into service. Right? So, I believe that along with the content, one thing is, I believe it is very, very important, right? Your presentation skills. Okay, right. Number 2, whether you're from a science background or not, it is immaterial. But if at all, if you're somewhere slightly, at least till class 12th, if I would have studied science, maybe slightly that minor advantage you may have. But otherwise, that is not a so significant advantage as such. But here I am only concerned, right? Slightly, if your presentation skill can be good, even without a diagram, if I can very neatly write it, keywords I underline it, flowchart if needed, I'm just putting it. Some process diagrams I'm just doing it, right? My dear friends, geography can be a natural choice for me. And I have seen students, some of the students I have seen who got extraordinary marks, particularly in paper 2. Paper 1, hardly they'll get 120, 130. That's it. But paper 2, I have seen students who are getting very easily 160, 170, etc. Reason, these are the students who has the ability to draw a map of India so beautifully. 10, 15 seconds, so they draw a very beautiful outline sketch of India. If you can practice it, my dear friends, I'm telling you, paper 2 is nothing. Right? I'm telling you, not more than 15, 20 days you prepare. You become a master in paper. Assuming that paper 1 as a concept, you are very much clear. Okay. So, somewhere think about it. If your presentation skill is great, this is your paper. But for improving the same, to ensure the same, lot of practice you have. At least say, for example, 200 questions or 250 questions in paper one alone, I should practice. Somewhere around at least bare minimum 100 to 150 questions I have to practice in paper. Okay. If you can do that much, geography should not be a great problem for. Okay. Now, right, my dear friends, I have just given you an overall picture of this subject, geography, right? What is the scoring pattern? Even with the data taken from the UPSC declared informations and sites, I have just given it. Somewhere trying to say that so far the highest number of candidates in mains examination, they have appeared with this option of geography. Geography as such is a beautiful subject, no denial about it, right? Mostly it is concept. Fact is not so important here, right? But still, again, I'm telling you, understanding the basic concept with a good presentation skill and lot of answer writing practice, you can do it. Option will be a great support for it. Okay, right, my dear friends. Now, if any questions, you kindly ask. Santosh, you were asking a question.
Sir, international relationship course for 3 months or 4 months on கேக்குறேன்.
See, in the 3 or 4 months of the month, it depends on how many hours we are teaching. See, I believe that 200 hours of classes. This can be plus or minus 30 hours. Right? It means it can fluctuate, but on an average, 200 hours of classes. It can be 175, it can be 230 also. Okay. But how we are going to distribute? See, for example, if I'm going to have 5 hours class daily, which is not possible, but I'm telling you, I can complete this in what? 2 months. Okay. If I'm going to have 1 hour of class, I'm going to extend for what? That means number of months. Okay. So ideally speaking, any optional subject, 200 hours is very important. Plus or minus 30 hours, you can take it.
Okay.
Sir, geography, international relation, okay. We have classes in the Zoom. I think so. We'll be having classes in the Zoom. Right? I think so. I'm not very sure, but I think so. Sir, but geography mostly depends on current affairs. No. See here, out of the 20 chapters, right? Only one chapter is current affairs. That too in paper too, only one chapter you call them as what? Current affairs. That also not current issues. They talk about contemporary issues. And that too, see, when they say current affairs, they have mentioned what is going to be the current affairs. Okay. Contemporary issues in what? Contemporary issues in ecological issues, environmental hazards, landslide, earthquake, tsunami, and so on. If you have it, you'll be happy. All these topics are not new topics. Already in earlier chapters, we would have covered it. So whenever it is coming in current affairs or contemporary times, if it has happened, somewhere I should give more emphasis to it. That's it. Okay. So not necessarily it is current oriented. Not necessarily. Okay. Right.
Good evening,
Any
sir.
other? Yes, please.
Sir, myself Revan. I'm from Hyderabad. Is the class going to happen online or offline?
I think it is going to be online.
Okay. And one more. I'm having masters in geology. I'm having bit doubt in opting the optional as geography. The thing is that most of the topics are related to geology. But the thing is that practicing and all the stuffs will be there, right, sir? That how
with respect to
I
geology,
can manage. And one more, I'm working professional, so
yeah. See here, what will match with the geology is largely only geomorphology. Geomorphology will be having a maximum overlap, but other subjects will be having a minimum impact. Okay, number one. Number two, my suggestion, you think about it. Since you are a geologist, you are from a geology background, you can have this geology itself as a subject. The reason I'm telling
you.
See, I understand. Geology is slightly difficult. Okay, but what is the advantage? I'll tell you. You consider, choice is yours. If I opt for geology, Civil service mains also I can write with geology. Whereas IFS mains also I can write with geology. For IFS, Indian Forest Service, geography I don't have, but geology I have.
Yes, sir.
So that is one advantage. But see, I understand. What is the book you're, there's one Sanjay Bangar book is there. You're following that book?
Yes, sir.
Bangar, okay. Bangar's, that is one most prescribed book for geology you have read. Why I'm saying, see, because when I have written my Forest Service mains examination, geology was my option. Why I have chosen geology there? Simple. Right? I do not know any basis of geology, but since geography was my option, I have opted geology there. Geography was not there.
Okay.
Okay. Very much you can come with geography, I'll be happy. But my suggestion, since you have studied geology, I'm suggesting you. That's it.
Whereas the resources part and the coaching optional, I'm a bit confused with that, sir. Like most of the institutes are not offering geology.
Yeah, that I agree. So, that I agree. Geology very rarely, very rare. That I agree.
Yeah. So
that I agree. See, it is something like management students will be there. Management students, they want to go with management after looking for the market, looking in the market, they finally land with public administration. Right? Saying that we do not have management being taught in any place. So they chose a subject which is very near to their subject. In that way, geology and geography, they are very close.
Yeah.
But still, take your own time. Take your own time and decide. Okay. Right.
Sure.
Geography optional book list. I would give you only 3 books. Only 3 books. Physical Geography by Savindra Singh. Human Geography by Majid Hussain. A Comprehensive Indian Geography by D.R. Puller. Only 3 books. That is sufficient. Class notes and 3 books should be sufficient. Okay. Class notes itself will be giving you the supplementary material. All the topics will be giving you supplementary material. But slightly to put ourselves in a safer zone, I'll be giving you these 3 books. More than sufficient. You master these 3 books. That is more than sufficient somewhere. See, class notes and these 3 books, my dear friends, with a good practice, 300 should be achieved. Okay. So kindly tell how will our class will go, because I am working student. See, that we have not decided. What is the timing? I have not decided, but I do not know what is there in my mind. I'll tell you. We'll be having 2 options. Either we'll be going for weekend class, right? Or we can also go for early morning class. Okay. But we'll decide. Whatever you prefer, we'll decide. Okay. Even holidays also, like say, for example, national holidays, we can utilize it. Since most of you will be taking your GS subject also, I don't want optional subject and GS subject timing to overlap. Right? Suggest where to study for this. I told you, my dear friends, I have just given you some of the book list. Natarajan, the book list itself will be covering these topics. Apart from that, in class also will be covering all these topics. Good evening, sir. Please give some tips to improve the presentation skill. Rabin Babu, only tips what I can give you, practice more questions. My practice in the sense, whenever I complete a topic 1 day's class, every day minimum 1 question paper, answer writing, or say for example, question for answer writing practice I'll give you, right? And all of a sudden, 1 single day your presentation will not improve, but over a period of time, more and more answers you write it, definitely speaking, your presentation skill will improve. Sir, how long it will take to complete geography optional? I told you, 200 hours you take it, plus or minus 30 hours you take it. Anywhere between 170 to 230 we can complete. Sir, can you share the details of this batch, like how many hours, how the test will happen, how the syllabus will be covered and doubt clearance, etc. I think that admin will be who is in charge. They'll be giving you, but I'll give you superficial idea one by one. How many hours? I told you 200 hours plus or minus 30 hours should be fine. How the test will happen? For example, initially we can have, say, for example, this topic-wise test. Paper 1, unit 1, we can go for topics-wise test. For example, geomorphology, we can have a separate test. Oceanography, we can have a separate test. Climatology, we can have a separate test. Biogeography and environmental geography put together, we can have one test. Human geography, again, all these 5 chapters of human geography, we can have it as 3 tests. So what I'm just trying to say, somewhere around 6 to 7 test paper 1 will be covered. Right? 4 or 5 test paper 2 will be covered. Okay. So around somewhere around 12 test, all the topics should be covered. Okay. How the syllabus will be covered. I'll be going for this incremental mode. I'll be going by chapter, right? What is given in UPSC syllabus, accordingly we'll be going. Some of the syllabus will be overlapping. Whichever syllabus is overlapping, I'll be mentioning it. The same thing we will not discuss. For example, what I call it as overlapping syllabus, I'll tell you. When I just talk about, say, for example, right, paper 1 here, we're talking about, okay, paper 2, I'll take it. Paper 2. When I just talk about, say, for example, physical setting in India, right? Right. When we talk about physical setting, here also we'll be discussing about something called as what? Flood. Okay. Flood. But when I talk about contemporary issues, right? Here also we'll be discussing about the same topic called as what? Flood. You're getting it? This is what we call them as what? Overlapping topics. Similarly, when I just talk about, say, for example, paper 1, geomorphology, right? When I talk about geomorphology, here also I talk about mechanisms of what? Earthquake and tsunami. Correct. Paper 2, contemporary issues also I'll be having this tsunami and earthquake. Right. Physiographic setting also I'll be having this earthquake and tsunami. That's the reason I said we'll be having these overlapping topics. Okay. So overlapping topics, we may not do it again, but I'll be mentioning which is overlapping. Okay. Right. How many words that are enough for presentation? See, mains examination. When I talk about the marks, either I'll be having 10 marks or I'll be having 15 marks or I'll be having 20 marks. Exceptional, extraordinary condition only in paper 2, sometimes once in 3 years, once in 4 years, I'll be having a question which comes for 25 marks. Okay. Mains examination, only this 10 marker, the word limit is mentioned. 150 words I have to write. Okay. It means since the word limits are not mentioned, GS, it is given as 250 words, but general studies, normally we say you write it for 225 words, more than enough. For 20 marker, you write it for what? 300 words, more than enough. Correct? So only these 3 types of question we should practice. 25 marks also you leave it. 10 marker you practice, 15 marker you practice, 20 mark you practice it. Otherwise, you make it simple. 150 words, 225 words, 300 words. That in class I'll tell you. Okay. Santosh, Tamil writing exam book geography name. You cannot write geography in Tamil medium. Geography optional subject available only in English medium. I'm not talking about class. I'm talking about you writing the exam in the UPSC. Okay. General studies you can write it in Tamil. But optional geography you cannot write it in Tamil. So please tell about the book list again. Better what I'll do, I'll share it. Okay. For a minute, I'll just share it. This is the book. This book, name of this book, you call them as what? Physical Geography by Savindra Singh. I'm copying it. And I'm just okay, chat box. Right? This is one book. I hope you got it. Physical Geography by Savindra Singh. This is one book. Okay. The second book, it is Human Geography by Majid Hussain. The second book also I'm just doing it. It is Human Geography by Majid Hussain. Whichever edition is available, you go for. Physical Geography by Savindra Singh. Right. I'm just putting this messaging chat box. I'm just putting it. Kindly find it. One last book that also I'll add it. D.R. Kuller. Okay. So this book. One last book. It is D.R. Kuller. Okay. India, a comprehensive geography by D.R. Kuller. This is for paper. Okay. All three books I have just given it. Okay. It is there. Just name alone, you take it. In 2026, the census should be calculated or any other changes should be made it in human geography. See, let the census be completed first. Then let it come. Then we'll take it seriously. Okay. Obviously, if census is going to be taken, that is going to be very important because we'll be talking about population. Right? When I just talk about syllabus, particularly when I talk about paper 2, I have something called as population settlement, right? When I talk about settlement, this population is very, very important. Very, very important. Here again, see all this cultural setting, right? Growth, distribution, density of population, demographic attributes, sex ratio, right? All this, even literacy rate, right? All this is very, very important. All these topics, obviously, I understand that is census information. Okay. If it is coming, it is going to be very, very important. Right? Right. Any other questions, my dear friends? Is this just an orientation class for geography as an option, or we'll be having classes after the session? No. This is just to orientation class, just for geography. Similarly, you'll be having orientation classes for other subjects also. You take your own time and decide which subject you want. Okay. Once you decide, we'll be starting. Okay. Right. See, at least I recommend that you attend 3 or 4 different subjects. Only then you will know the advantage of every subject. Okay. Just because I am saying, for example, somewhere I believe that, right? You go through all the subjects, then you take a decision. Then it will be good. Okay. So please give some insights into the location area of the map. Should be able to locate every location prescribed in the syllabus part. Actually, syllabus, they have not mentioned which area. This is what they have given. Note, candidates will be required to answer one compulsory map question pertaining or pertinent to the subject covered by this paper. Only paper 2, I have this. It means India map. Anything can be asked. We cannot say that only this places will be asked. And map, we cannot have a separate practice. In the class itself, I'll be integrating it. I'll tell you how to do it. Okay. And marking is 1 mark and write-up is another mark. Okay, don't worry about map. When class is going to start? Very shortly, but once all the optional subject orientations are over, we'll be starting it. Okay. Admin will be taking a quick call. Within this month itself, optional will be started. Right? Right, my dear friends. So any other questions? Kindly let me.
The mains exam paper presentation, case studies, examples, diagrams, flow charts, the mains exam, writing exam for you எப்படி எழுதணும் அப்படின்னு கேக்குறேன் சார். தேரி மாதிரி எழுதுன மார்க் அதிகமா போடுவாங்களா?
It depends on your strength and weakness. If you are good in diagram, see, it is always should be a combination number. Number 2 enna appadina, the question will be demanding. The questions demands a diagram, you should go for it. Correct? So sometimes, for example, some of the questions diagram is not needed. Nowhere you can be able to insert a question. Okay. Right. But that we'll see, right? Every question has its own SOP, its own template. Okay. When we start this answer writing practice, then you will become a master. There is no answer writing. There is nothing called as, say, for example, right? Only one template of answer writing you do not have. Okay. So don't worry about the answer writing as of. That is very, very important, but incrementally, slowly, steadily, we'll see. Say about NCRT book coverage. See, NCRT is for GS. Let me tell you, NCRT is a base, foundation. But NCRT may not be sufficient for optional subject. And one thing you have to understand, general studies, difficulty level is, or the standard is school standard. Optional subject, it is degree standard. Correct? So, here, NCRT may not be that much important for us, optional subject. Okay? How about the course fees, sir? I don't have any idea. Admin will be helping you in that regard. Okay? Right, boss. Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, boss.
Sir, actually வந்துட்டு இந்த பேட்ச் இருக்குல்ல சார், இது 6 month போகுன்னு போட்டிருக்கீங்க. ஸோ வந்து இப்போ இன்கேஸ் நெக்ஸ்ட் பேட்ச் ஏதாவது இனி அடுத்த டேர்ம்ல ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ற மாதிரி இருக்குமா சார்? அடுத்த ஒரு 2 months கழிச்சு அப்படி.
Class training, இது மட்டும் I am not much aware of it. One thing, what I would say, it depends. For example, if there is a chance that if we can have class daily, maybe evening you have this optional subject, sorry, GS. Like that morning 1.5 hours if we can able to fetch it. Or say, for example, 2 hours if we can find it. Or we can have extended weekend classes. I don't think it will go for 6 months. We can complete it. So cumulatively, we have to find this 200 hours, plus or minus 30. Okay. So this is one. Number 2, what I also believe, the second part of the question, normally optional subject will be happening only once a year. Once a year. So it may not be like a cyclic batch. Okay. And number 2, cyclic batch may not work for optional, because optional subject needs that incremental part. For example, to understand paper 2, I have to have a strong understanding in paper 1. Okay. So this is my understanding. Okay. So one thing, the 6 months Poman get depends on the number of hours we are utilizing every week. If the hour utilization is less, it may go for 6 months.
Okay, sir.
If our utilization is more, we can cut short it. Okay. And another
Sir,
understanding,
yeah.
In 1 year, what I believe is only one batch.
ஓகே சார். சார்
Okay.
எனக்கு வந்து பர்சனலி வந்து நான் பிரெக்னென்ட் உமன் சார். ஆல்மோஸ்ட் இது வந்து 39 weeks ஆச்சு சார். ஆல்மோஸ்ட் கிட்டத்தட்ட டியூ டேட் கிட்டே இருக்கேன் சார். பட் இது ஆன்லைன் பேட்சுங்கிறதுனால மேபி கோப் அப் பண்ணிக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறேன் சார். இன்கேஸ் இப்போ டெஸ்ட் ஏதாவது மிஸ் பண்ணோம் அப்படின்னா நம்ம இங்கிருந்து எப்படி எழுதி சப்மிட் பண்ணுவோம் சார்? டெஸ்ட்ஸ் நீங்க கரெக்ட் பண்ணி தருவீங்களா அந்த மாதிரி?
See, initially I will be taking it. I want to see your the writing skills we have to ensure. And the test will be giving you the comments as such. Correct panni kudukom illaya? So normal online eppadi varum appdin pathina neenga test எழுதி உங்களுடைய பேப்பரை நீங்க ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி Adobe scan or cam scan is not used now. Put it as Adobe scan ஏதோ you send it as a PDF copy. Appo here what we'll be doing, we'll be correcting your paper and we'll be returning it back. Put adliye comments irukum. But normally, for example, online எப்படி நடக்கும் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இனிஷியலா சில டவுட்ஸ் இருந்தது அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா they may arrange a session for doubt clearingக்காக ஒரு செஷன் அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணுவாங்க. That's how it goes normally. Anyway, வாழ்த்துக்கள், congratulations.
ஓகே சார்.
நீங்க கிளாஸ் விட்டீங்கன்னா மிஸ் பண்ணீங்கன்னா கூட நீங்க வீடியோ லெக்சர் பாருங்க.
ஓகே சார்.
ஆனா ஒண்ணு, என்ன கிளாஸ் என்ன டெஸ்ட் இருந்தாலும் அதை எழுதிருங்க. நீங்க
Okay, sir.
அன்னைக்கு எழுத விட்டுட்டீங்க அப்படின்னா கூட பின்னாடி காலகட்டங்கள்ல ஏதாவது எழுதிருங்க. கம்ப்ளீட்
Okay.
பண்ணுங்க. ம்?
Okay. சார்
ஆனா ஒரு டைம்
அப்ராக்சிமேட்டா எவ்வளவு நாளைக்கு ஒருக்கா டெஸ்ட் இருக்கும் சார்? ஒரு இது நீங்க ஒரு போர்ஷன் முடிச்ச உடனே அது சம்பந்தமா டெஸ்ட் அப்படி இருக்குமா சார்?
நார்மலா எனக்கு என்ன அப்படின்னா, எனக்கு ஒரு மாசத்துக்கு 2 டெஸ்டாவது மினிமம் இருக்கும். அதாவது எப்படின்னா ஃபோர்ட்நைட்லி ஒரு டெஸ்ட் இருக்கும்.
ஓகே சார்.
சில நேரங்கள்ல வீக்லி கூட ஒரு டெஸ்ட் இருக்கும். ஃபோர்ட்நைட்லி டெஸ்ட் இஸ் ஒர்க்கபிள். ஒரு 15 நாளைக்கு ஒரு டெஸ்ட் இருக்கும் போது நீங்க சின்ன போர்ஷன்ஸ் முடிச்சிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னா கூட உடனே யூ கேன் டேக் இட் அண்ட் கம்ப்ளீட் இட். ஓகே
ஓகே சார்.
ரைட்.
Thank you
தட் இஸ்
சார்.
வாட். இருந்தாலும் நான் கன்ஃபார்ம் பண்றேன். ஏன்னா திஸ் டைம்ஸ் நான் I do not know about the infrastructure facility. Infrastructure na the recorded facility la illame நான் கன்ஃபார்ம் பண்றேன். But I believe that it should be there. Okay.
சார் அட்மின்ல சொல்லிட்டு இந்த கோர்ஸ் ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் அந்த டெஸ்ட் வந்து எவ்வளவு நாளைக்கு இருக்கும், ஐ மீன் எவ்வளவு நாள் ஒன்ஸ், அந்த மாதிரி கோர்ஸ் டீடைல்ஸ் வந்து ஷேர் பண்ண சொல்றீங்களா சார்? டெலிகிராம் சேனல்ல எதுலயாவது? ஓகே சார்.
That can be. That can be.
ஓகே சார்.
Okay.
Thank you so much sir.
Right, boss. Can you suggest, is there any geology optional offering in Syllabus? Raven, there is no geology optionals we are offering. Okay. Alagu Pandi sir, எனக்கு இங்கிலீஷ் தெரியாது. அழகு ஆக்சுவலா ஒன்னே ஒன்று பாண்டி, ஜிஎஸ்ஆர் இருந்தா கூட கிளாஸ் பைலிங்குவல் எடுத்துடலாம். ஆப்ஷனல் சப்ஜெக்ட் பைலிங்குவல் எடுக்கிறதுக்கான யூட்டிலிட்டி இல்லை, யூஸ் இல்லை. காரணம் என்ன அப்படின்னா, நீங்க எக்ஸாம்ல இதை இங்கிலீஷை தவிர்த்து வேற எந்த லாங்குவேஜ்லயும் இந்த எக்ஸாம் எழுத முடியாது, ஆப்ஷன் மட்டும். அப்ப நீங்க ஆமா.
ஹலோ சார்.
அழகு சொல்லுங்க
சார். நான் வந்து தேர்ட் இயர் காலேஜ் தான் சார் போறேன். என்ன எக்ஸாம் அட்டென்ட் பண்ணல சார்.
அப்ப நீங்க ஆப்ஷன் எடுக்காதீங்க, முதல்ல ஜிஎஸ் முடிச்சிருங்க. இப்ப நீங்க ஜிஎஸ் ஆமா ஜிஎஸ் முடிச்சிட்டு
பிரிலிம்ஸ் எழுதல சார்.
நான் என்ன சொல்றேன், ஆப்ஷன் இப்ப எடுக்காதீங்கன்றேன்.
சரி சார், நீங்க கிளாஸ் போடுறத நான் பாத்துக்கிறேன் சார். அதான்
எதுக்குன்னா, நீங்க ஜிஎஸ் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் முடிச்சிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னாலே உங்களுக்கு ஓரளவு எல்லா ஆப்ஷனை பத்தி தெரிஞ்சிடும். ரெண்டாவது, நீங்க தமிழ் லிட்ரேச்சர் கொஞ்சம் யோசிச்சு பாருங்க.
சரிங்க சார். அதான் சார், தமிழ் தான் சார் படிக்கிறேன் இப்ப தேர்ட் இயர்ல.
தமிழ் படிங்க, தமிழ் லிட்ரேச்சர் படிங்க. இன்னொன்னு, உங்களை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் இப்போ நீங்க ஏதாவது ஒண்ணு மட்டும் கான்சென்ட்ரேட் பண்ணுங்க, ஏன்னா டைம் இருக்கு.
ஆமா,
காலேஜும் படிச்சுக்கிட்டு ஜிஎஸும் படிச்சுட்டு ஆப்ஷன் படிச்சீங்கன்னா லோடு ஓவர்லோட் ஆயிடுவீங்க.
இல்லைங்க சார், இது மட்டும்
ஒன்னொன்னா படிங்க, ஜிஎஸ் முடிங்க. முடிச்சோன்னா உங்களுக்கே ஒரு கான்ஃபிடன்ஸ் வரும், சரி நான் இந்த சப்ஜெக்ட் எடுக்கலாம்னு. தமிழ் ஆப்ஷன் போங்க.
பிரிலிம்ஸ்க்கு எப்படி சார் படிக்கிறது? பிரிலிம்ஸ் எக்ஸாம்
பிரிலிம்ஸ்க்கு அந்த ஜிஎஸ்ல அவங்க சொல்லுவாங்க, ஜிஎஸ் கிளாஸஸ் நடக்கும்போது சொல்லுவாங்க. அந்த மென்டரிங் பேட்ச் உங்களுக்கு நடக்கும், மென்டரிங் அட்டன் பண்ணுங்க. டெய்லி ஒரு 1/2 மணி நேரம் 3/4 மணி நேரம் மென்டரிங் இருப்பாங்க. மென்டார்ஸ்ன்றது உங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் சீனியர்ஸ், இப்போ இந்த எக்ஸாம் எழுதி பாஸ் பண்ணவங்க, இவங்கள தான் மென்டரிங் பண்ணுவாங்க. இப்போ அவங்க உங்களுக்கு ஒரு பிளானே போட்டு உங்களுடைய, அதான் எப்படின்னா இண்டிவிஜுவலா உங்களுடைய ஸ்ட்ரென்த் என்ன, வீக்னஸ் என்ன எல்லாத்தையும் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணிப்பாங்க. உங்களுடைய பலம் என்ன, பலவீனம் எல்லாம் எல்லாமே அவங்க ஓரளவு தெரிஞ்சுப்பாங்க. அதை வச்சு, அதை அடிப்படையா வச்சு உங்களுக்கு ஒரு என்ன சொல்றது, வாரத்துக்கான ஒரு பிளான் கொடுத்துருவாங்க. சரியா? சரி,
தேங்க்யூ சார்.
நல்லது. Is there any other questions, boss?
Sir, one more doubt, sir.
Sir, உங்களோட டெலிகிராம் சேனல் லிங்க் ஷேர் பண்ண முடியுமா?
நான் டெலிகிராம்ல இல்ல, நான் வந்து என்ன சொல்றது, ஆன்டி சோஷியல், சோஷியல் மீடியால இல்ல நான்.
ஓகே சார், பட் இப்ப
சொல்லுங்க.
இல்ல சார், தமிழ்ல நான் எழுதுறேன் எக்ஸாம் மெயின்ஸ் எல்லாமே, அதனால தமிழ் மென்டார் யாராச்சும் இந்த எல்லாத்துக்கும் கைடன்ஸ் பண்ண.
அது ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை. அவர் கிங்ஸ்டன் ஒரு தம்பி ஒருத்தர் இருப்பாரு, அவர் தமிழ்ல எழுதி பாஸ் பண்ணுவாரு. அவர் இன்க்ளூடிங் ஐஎஃப்எஸ் வரையும் தமிழ்ல எழுதி பாஸ் பண்ணுவாரு. ஜென்ரலா அந்த தமிழ் மீடியம்ல, அதாவது தமிழ்ல எழுதுறவங்களுக்கு அவர் தான் ஜென்ரலா ஒரு என்ன சொல்றது, கைடன்ஸ் கொடுப்பாரு. என்ன புக்கு படிக்கிறது, எப்படி எழுதுறது. ஆக்சுவலா என்ன அப்படின்னா, தமிழ்ல எழுதினா கூட பைலிங்குவலா எழுதலாம். டெர்மினாலஜிஸ் மட்டும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா இங்கிலீஷ்ல எழுதலாம், தப்பு இல்லை. அவங்க எழுதுனவங்களே உங்களுக்கு மென்டரிங் பண்ண சொல்லலாம். சரிங்களா? தமிழ்லயே எழுதியிருப்பாங்கல்ல, அவங்களே உங்களுக்கு இன்புட் கொடுப்பாங்க. சரி, ஓகே.
Thanks.
Is there any other questions, my dear friends? More question I have here. Sir, is this advisable to attempt this year 2026 prelims with a newborn baby? Sir, it's my 4th attempt. So you are on the 39th week, you said, right? 39th. 39th, na? Okay. Almost you are expecting. Okay, right. Okay. Sorry, see, you fill the form.
Okay, sir.
ஏன்னா இப்போ ஷானாஸ் இலியாஸ்ன்னு சொல்லிட்டு she was also our student. But அவங்க என்ன அப்படின்னா she has just taken the guidance and mentoring. இங்கல்ல when we were in some other institute, she was our student.
Okay.
She opted with sociology. ரொம்ப டெக்னிக்கலா பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா அவங்க she was a mother. அப்போ உங்களுடைய நீங்க what is your condition, the same condition. She was also carrying that time and that was her first attempt. குழந்தை பிறந்து கொஞ்ச நாள்ல preliminary examination, அதுக்கப்புறம் மெயின்ஸ். She cracked it. Now she's a Tamil Nadu Cadre IPS officer. Shana's Ilyas போட்டிங்கனாலே வந்துரும். You can do it. ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை.
Okay, sir.
வீட்டில் அம்மா மாமியார் சப்போர்ட் இருந்ததுன்னா கொஞ்சம் சுலபமா இருக்கும்.
ஓகே சார், ஃபேமிலி சப்போர்ட் இருக்கு சார். லாஸ்ட் 2 அட்டெம்ப்ட் வந்து ஜிஎஸ் பேப்பர் கிளியர் பண்ணிட்டேன் சார். பட் சிசாட் வந்து பண்ண முடியல சார், ப்ரிலிம்ஸ்.
ஓகே. எவ்வளவு மார்க் வந்தது சிசாட்ல?
சார் 45 லாஸ்ட் அட்டெம்ப்ட் சார். 2024 கொடுக்கல சார். 2024 45 சார் அண்ட் 55 வந்து 2023.
சரி, 66 இருக்கணும். அப்படின்னா நீ கொஞ்சம் ஒர்க் பண்ணணும். நீங்க படிச்சது ஆர்ட்ஸோ பிகாம் இல்ல பிஏ மாதிரி படிச்சீங்களா?
நோ சார், பிஇ சிவில் இன்ஜினியரிங் சார்.
Then why there is a struggle?
Yes sir, I don't know. First 2 attempt வந்து 73 வாங்கியிருந்தேன் சார் ஒரு டைம் 82 வாங்கியிருந்தேன் சார். அதுக்கு அடுத்து ஜிஎஸ்ல கான்சென்ட்ரேட் பண்ணிட்டு இதை வந்து பண்ண முடியல சார் சரியா.
ஒன்றும் இல்லை, ஸ்வாட் அனாலிசிஸ் பண்ணிடுங்க. சிசாட்ல வந்து எங்க நீங்க ஸ்ட்ரென்த் அண்ட் வீக்னஸ் இருக்குன்றத பாத்துருங்க.
ஓகே சார்.
இண்டிவிஜுவல் ஏரியாஸ் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணுங்க.
ஓகே சார்.
பேசிக் நியூமரசில நான் டிஃபிகல்ட்டா இருக்கா, காம்ப்ரிஹென்ஷன்ல டிஃபிகல்ட்டா இருக்கா, டேட்டா இன்டர்பிரிட்டேஷன்ல டிஃபிகல்ட்டா இருக்கா, ஜெனரல் மென்டல் எபிலிட்டியில டிஃபிகல்ட்டா இருக்கான்றது ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணிடுங்க. அப்புறமா ரெக்டிஃபை பண்ணுங்க.
ஓகே சார். 2021 ஆல் இந்தியா சிவில் சர்வீஸ் கோச்சிங் வந்து உங்களோட பேட்ச்ல அட்டெண்ட் பண்ணேன் சார். ஜியோகிராஃபி நீங்க தான் அங்க எடுத்தீங்க.
ஓ அப்படியா? சூப்பர். உங்க ஆப்ஷனல் சப்ஜெக்ட் என்ன?
சார் இவ்வளவு நாள் பிஎஸ்ஐஆர் ஃபாலோ பண்ணேன் சார். பட் எனக்கு அதுல பேப்பர் 2 வந்து நல்ல கிரிப் இல்லை சார், ஹோல்டு. அதனால அப்புறம் இந்த அட்டெம்ப்டும் லாஸ்ட் 2025 வந்து கொடுக்கல சார். எப்படியும் இப்போ ஃப்ரெஷ்ஷாக ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணனால எனக்கு ஜியோகிராஃபி ஓகேவா தோணுனால இப்போ அதுக்கு ஷிஃப்ட் ஆயிடலாம்னு சொல்லிட்டு இப்போ ப்ராப்பரா இது படிக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கிறேன்.
ஒரே நிமிஷம். பிஎஸ்ஐஆர் எவ்வளவு நாள் படிச்சீங்க
சார்? அது ஃபர்ஸ்ட் 2 அட்டெம்ப்ட்ஸ்க்கு தான் படிச்சேன் சார். அதுக்கு அடுத்து ஃபுல்லாவே நம்ம ப்ரிலிம்ஸ்க்காக தான் ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணேன். தெரிஞ்ச ஏரியா மட்டும் திரும்ப கவர் பண்ணிட்டு மெயின்ஸ்க்கு ஃபுல் ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணல சார்.
இல்ல எனக்கு புரியுது. எனக்கு நான் 2 அப்கிரேடேஷன். நீங்க புதுசா ஒரு சப்ஜெக்ட படிக்கிறதுக்கு பதில் ஏற்கனவே படிச்ச சப்ஜெக்ட் ரிவைஸ் பண்ணி எழுத முடியாதுன்னு தோணுதா
சார்? ஆனா நான் அதை கம்ப்ளீட்டா படிக்கல சார். பேப்பர் 2 எல்லாம் அதுல படிக்கவே இல்லை சார். அதுல கொஞ்சம் தான் படிச்சிருந்தேன் பிஎஸ்ஐஆரும். அது போக இப்ப பிரேக்குங்கும் போது திரும்ப அது ஃப்ரெஷ்ஷா ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ற மாதிரி தான் அந்த ஆப்ஷனும் இருக்கு சார். பட் அதுல நல்ல ஹோல்டு இல்ல அந்த ஆன்சர் ரைட்டிங் எல்லாமே. எனக்கு ஜியோகிராஃபி கொஞ்சம் கம்ஃபர்டபுளா ஃபீல் ஆகுது சார். நார்மலா ஜிஎஸ் பேப்பருக்குலாம் மெயின்ஸ் டெஸ்ட் பேட்ச்ல எழுதியிருக்கேன் சார். ஸோ அதுல கம்பேர் பண்ணும்போது எனக்கு ஜியோகிராஃபி ஆன்சர்ஸ் வந்து நான் ஈஸியா டக்குன்னு எழுதுற மாதிரி இருக்கு சார். பட் பாலிட்டியில ரொம்ப ஸ்ட்ரகிள் பண்றேன். அதனால யோசிச்சு.
நீங்க சிவில் இன்ஜினியர், அந்த நேச்சுரல் அட்வான்டேஜ் இருக்கும்.
எஸ் சார்.
சரி, ஓகே. நீங்க கொஞ்சம் கன்சிடர் பண்ணிட்டு டேக் யுவர் ஓன் கால் அட் டைம்.
Okay, sir.
Sure.
Okay, no. Thank you so much.
Okay, boss. Great. So I am a fresher. What difficulties you face on them? Tell about your experience. See, experience share பண்றது நிறைய இருக்கு. We'll share it later stagesல. Fresher ஒரு advantage இருக்கு. Freshers have no boundaries. இப்போ 2 attempt 3 attempt நான் மெயின்ஸ் எழுதிட்டேன் அப்படின்னா I will start having my boundaries. When I say that, when I see a question, first I'll have a framework. I'll say that okay, this is the boundary within what my answer should be lying up in Pramari. I'll have something called as a mental boundaries or a mental, right? Say for example, makeover. If I'm writing it for the very first time, you will not have any boundaries. You can go beyond the boundaries. So sometimes I have seen students getting extraordinary mark in attempt 1. Same student writing mains examination second time, their mark will come down. Appa na or advantage adha paakra. Mind will be very fresh. No boundaries, sky is the limit. Adhe mari fresher ku innor advantage irukku. First attempt neenga kudukumbodhu energy nariya irukku. I have lot of energy. When it goes to second, third attempt and above, that energy will come down. About being a first timer, being a fresher, more than the difficulties, you will have more of energies and advantage. You utilize on that. Okay, right. For any further queries, they have just given you a document, Google Doc. You just follow it, and they have also given a contact number. So you may call that number also. Okay, right, my dear friends. So extremely happy having you here. So take an informed decision, right? Whichever subject is comfortable to you, accordingly you select it. Okay. So thank you and God bless.